May is for mastering emotions. Just totally lost my train of thought. Yeah, here in Emotionally Healthy Moms for the month of May, we are focusing on mastering your emotions. What do I mean by that? How is that even possible? If you're new here, so we have added some new ladies this week. I am Mukkove Johnson, and I used to be the mom who raged at her kids and intimidated them into obeying, and um, didn't have a lot of connection with them in their younger years because of things like that, and don't want to be that kind of mom anymore. I didn't want to be that kind of mom then, and I tried really hard to change and grow, and it seemed like nothing worked, and things, yeah, they just didn't work for me like they worked for everybody else. The Christian programming, the books, the tools, just all of it. It just didn't work for me. So it must have meant there was something uniquely wrong with me. However, I've learned that that's not the case. Hi, Dara. Glad you could join me. And I'm glad it's letting me see comments today. So if you're here, say hi. Um, so for May, I'm talking about mastering your emotions. And what I mean by that is not that you'll get to a point where you do things perfectly, because we're human. We're never going to do things perfectly. But when I was homeschooling my kids, like, we would get to a level of mastery where they would get to where most of the time they could handle the addition facts or those letter sounds or whatever. Like, almost all the time they get it right. That's to a level of mastery where now they're ready to learn something else. And we are supposed to get to learn to do that with our emotions when we're little. And when we don't, it makes it all the more challenging. Then we have little people who need to learn to manage their emotions, and we discover that we don't know how to do it ourselves, and it makes things hard and messy. And so in this month, next week, I'm going to do a workshop. I'm going to be live every day, and I'm going to be diving into, I've struggled with, like, do I call them steps? And I think what the Lord gave me this morning is they're key skills that you need to master your emotions. And He's given me 8 of them, because it's broke down really tiny. Like, originally I had this, I think I still have it titled 3 steps. And I guess if we lump the key skills together into 3 steps, we could do that. But I just thought, like, really break it down into the skills that you need to be able to master your emotions, like permission and awareness and acceptance and listening and validation. I'm going to break down all those things as skills that you can learn. And that's the great thing about skills. We learn skills. Like, you didn't always know how to write. That's a skill you learned. Driving is a skill you learned. So that's an encouraging thing. Even if emotions feel elusive and you struggle with your own or with your kids, there's skills that you can learn so that you can master your emotions. And being part of the kingdom, being a daughter of the King through Jesus, we are to master our emotions. And again, that's not stuffing them down, it's not ignoring them, it's not pretending they don't matter. It's not just choosing the ones we like. All of emotions have a message. And God says that His word never returns void. So if He created us with emotions and He created those emotions to give us messages, then it makes sense that those emotions do not move on until we've heard the message that they have for us. And so learning, how do you get that message? And that's what we'll be diving into more next week. And just want to, I felt like as I was preparing for the workshop, going, okay, God, when I was in that place of being that mom who hated myself because of how I had just yelled at my kids and the things I had said and the way I had said them, and just felt like there was no hope. I was never going to get this. It was just ruining these beautiful people that I loved so much. And it's like, what did I need most then? And I was like, I needed hope. Like, yeah, I needed the skills, I needed the information, I needed transformation, But before any of that, I needed hope that I actually could change. I actually could do it different. I could be the mom that I dreamed of being instead of this monster that showed up when I was too tired, or when their emotions were too overwhelming for me, or huge button for me is disrespect and lying. Those are two that just like pushed me over the edge so fast. And I shared a story yesterday about, because for those of you that don't know, I have children that are 19, 20, and 21. And the 19-year-old and the 20-year-old are engaged. The 21-year-old just bought a house. And then I have a 4-year-old. So when I talk about my older kids, it's obviously the 19, 20, and 21-year-old. And they did not get a nice mom a lot of the time. And now I have this 4-year-old. And so there's some times where I feel like, yeah, maybe I haven't really grown that much. But not very often, thankfully. And yesterday morning was one of those times where it was very clearly, no, I've grown. I have learned how to use these skills and put them in place so that I am not exploding, verbally vomiting, or being this volcano at my child when they're acting very age appropriate. You know, we needed to be out of the house, and I was like, okay, go put your jeans on. I'm doing whatever I was doing to get ready. And I finished doing what I was doing, excuse me, and I went to check on her, and she's laying on her bedroom floor with her jeans nowhere in sight because her jeans were in my room. And I have implemented with her that she needs to pay me with a toy when she disobeys, because she does not care for spankings. Not that she doesn't care, like she does not care. Like she just doesn't care. It doesn't faze her in the slightest, even if they're done properly. And so that just is out with this one. But she cares about her toys immensely. So it's like, you're just going to have to pay me with a toy because you need to understand that disobedience costs you something. And so there's huge meltdown, and like, as I'm about to say, like, you're still disobeying and disobedience costs you a toy. So now it's going to be another toy, and like just escalating this. Like, I had a flashback to doing that with my middle son, and it so never went well. Never. For either one of us. And just, it would escalate and escalate and escalate until it was really bad, like having to physically restrain him or physically like forcibly make him leave the house so that we could both calm down. And it was awful. And so like I had a flashback of that. I'm just like, no, I'm not escalating this. Like, she's emotional. I can't reason with her when she's emotional because we're not capable of that as humans. If we're in our emotions, we cannot be logical. And so like there's just no point. And just like, okay, this is just the way it is. I'm not talking to you about it anymore. You can pick the toy or I can pick the toy. And just bigger meltdown. So it's just like, okay, you need to go in and go potty so you can be ready to go. I'm gonna go pick the toy. And just able to de-escalate it and see that, like, yes, I'm a different mom than I was 20 years ago, because I can, like, I could feel those responses rising up of like, this is what you did before. And I was like, yeah, and I'm not doing that again. That was awful. Hi, Sarah and Sophia. Thanks for joining. So I just want to offer hope that, like, I was that mom that was totally ashamed of how I treated my kids on occasion and didn't have the courage to let anybody know, to now be in a place where like I'm doing it all over again, and I'm not doing it perfect, but I am doing it way, way different. And so I would love for you to share like what struggles you're currently having as a mom, or where you most feel like you need hope, or maybe you feel like you need something different. What do you most feel like you need right now in the season of mothering you're in? And announcements for this, like I said, for the month of May, we're focusing on mastering your emotions. And next week there'll be a workshop. I'm going to be live every day. There's going to be prizes for people that show up live every day. And for people that watch, because I know I'm in Alaska, and Alaska time doesn't necessarily work with the rest of the country all the time. So yeah, I'll do prizes for everybody that watches, comments, and participates. I'm going to do a grand prize for, they'll be laid out like what homework there is, because I want you to invest and get a different, I want it to make a difference. I don't want it to just be something you show up for. So I want to know what you most need so I can put that in. And then if you do all of the things, will be entered for a grand prize, which will be a package of coaching sessions with me. And so Sophia has 3 sons, 21, 19, and 14. And the youngest is depressed. This is a hard season. I think there's a lot of depression in the air, and it is hard to watch our kids struggle. So we'll be praying for him and for you to be able to call out the gold and sow hope into him. So yeah, there's gonna be lots of prizes. If you are currently in the group, you have the opportunity at a special prize. If you invite 3 friends, you will be entered in a drawing for 1 free session with me. So invite your friends who would benefit from this. Yeah. And then after the workshop, we're still going to focus on mastering emotions and just probably feed off of like what came out of the workshop, what you guys need, where you have questions, where you need the most support. Sophia, I realize now how much he was put to the side because he was younger when his dad and I were getting divorced. That has a big impact, in communicating to him, repenting to him will most likely have a huge impact. And taking that burden off of him, like how he's feeling, how he felt then was not his fault. But yeah, praying for timing and wisdom and exactly what he needs and how you can reconnect with him. So yeah, thanks for joining me live. It's lovely to have someone to talk to, and yeah, let me know what you would most like to see out of the workshop. I have a friend that's donating some books she's going to be sending out. I'm going to be giving away copies of Mess to Majesty. All kinds of fun stuff I have planned for next week. I'm excited to try this and see how it goes. Emily, 2-year-old and a 2-month-old. So precious. Yeah, they're amazing. It's a great time to learn how to be a mom. So thanks for joining me, and I will see you in the group.